Last week I had Michael Sherlock here. Yeah, that's a policeman just out of the police force only a matter of months. Michael's back again. Hey, welcome, Michael.
Hey, great to be back.
Wow, didn't you call it last week? It was on the Sunday we recorded, and on the Monday, photo was gone.
Good.
Photo was gone. So, well, yeah, good. So, obviously, the whole of Parliament's watching you now, Michael, and taking instructions. I guarantee they've got their pad and paper out right now taking instructions.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Hipkins is taking over. How's that looking?
Look, I think he did a good job through COVID. He just seems to... What they've done is pretty much put their strongest people onto the biggest policy or biggest portfolios they need, and I'm not scared that Hipkins is going to do a bad job. I think hopefully he can come in and just straighten the ship a bit. I think that's what he's going to come in and do, and then that's what. But the good thing is, I think I heard that they're giving it to him, and then he's going to sort of let his educational portfolio and everything.
Now, look, I'm not a big fan of anybody in Labor, but he's one of their top performers, I think. And look, they've got a very shallow talent market, so he's there. But the other thing I see about Hipkins is that he takes criticism, he deals with it, and he's honest. I think he's reasonably honest. We saw, I think he fed some pretty bad statistics when he was COVID minister, but that's not his fault. It's probably his officials' fault.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't quite like some of their policies. But again, he's straight up. And if he's not quite sure of something, or he's completely wrong, he puts his hand up. No, we didn't have that before with photo. That's where you guys felt like she didn't have your back when you're out in the field.
Yeah, I think you need a strong candidate to hold that portfolio, and just Poto wasn't up for the job. Now Chris Hipkins is in, like you said, he's one of their better ministers. I think he's just going to come in and he's going to take over. He'll try and steady the ship for the last 18 months that they're going to be in power before it goes up for vote again, really.
Be very interesting. There's a lot to look at in terms of the police portfolio. It is a mess.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about a few other times, there's huge ram raid shootings. The crime, it just seems to be enormous at the moment. And, of course, people are saying, the crime rate's not actually up. Well, God, it's just the horrific crimes we're seeing.
Yeah.
Now, not 5 kilometres from here this week, these crooks go into Michael Hill Jewelers in broad daylight with hammers, smash open the glass cabinets, help themselves, and then wander off with people videoing them outside. Just people wandering by going, oh my God.
Yeah.
Broad daylight, Michael.
I know. In my opinion, it's starting to become quite premeditated. I've been to many of ram raids myself, and there's jobs like this, but they're always in the middle of the night.
Was that a ram raid though? I don't think it was it?
It wasn't a ram raid, no. That was more of a full-on robbery. But these sort of things where I've been to these sorts of things before, but they're always in the middle of the night. When they start becoming in broad daylight, then it's something that we've got to worry about.
Do you think this is local criminals from the North Shore? That's where we are, folks, by the way, if you're watching. Do you think they're outsiders coming in and saw North Shore as an easy target?
Yes, 100%. I think it's West and South Auckland. They can see Shore as an easy target and they come over.
Now, I was thinking about this. Why didn't they go into... Because that wouldn't be the most profitable of Michael Hill's stores. Now, the big profitable ones would have been in a shopping centre. So they've picked this and done a very clever job. Look, the other thing is they would have had one driver organised. Don't get out of the car. Don't go and support your mates. You stay in the car and you drive only when you got them all back in there. Clear instructions.
Yeah.
Somebody was said to them, go into that jeweler store, wear glasses, don't get glass in your eye, make sure that you've got gloves on because you have to scoop amongst a whole lot of broken glass. Now also, if you've got a bag that's open, you can't have a bag that's going to close on you because you won't get all the jewellery in there. You need to get in and out. So someone's put some big thought into this. Do you think it's organised crime?
I don't think it's organised crime. I think it's still the youth doing it, especially if you watch the videos. They are teenagers.
Well, somebody's thinking.
So they're thinking, but the problem is they're doing it so often is that they know what to do now. Anything I trade and play football. You train to play rugby. In the end, I know what I'm doing on the football pitch.
Well, but I was impetuous, stupid. A lot of deep thinking didn't go into a lot of things, and I did some stupid things as a young person. So I know I can reflect very, very vividly on what I was thinking at the time. And I know there's not a lot of deep thinking going on, but somebody is strategizing.
Oh, there's always going to be a level-headed person within these groups that sort of go, this is what we need to do to get the most out of it. a different spin on it is that I do. I've after seeing the video, a couple of people have come up to me and said, "Why didn't the people filming do anything? Why didn't they like?"
God, be the last thing to do. No,
last
you'd be crazy.
thing,
to do.
You gotta do not get involved. Film it. Make sure you get enough evidence so that the police can do something. Don't, because you never know that someone could have pulled out a firearms. It could have all gone south very quickly and would have changed from a robbery to a murder or something like that.
Some good advice there, Michael.
Good advice.
I think that really is. And I wouldn't have stepped in, but I'm a wise old guy now. I'm a bit sage. But in my earlier days, I would have, right, how can I be a hero now? And that's the stupidest thing we could have done.
It's not the stupidest thing. It's just...
the risk levels go up.
Risk level would have gone a lot higher because you stepping in could have done a lot more damage to what was being done. Do just step back. Great thing now with iPhones and stuff like that. Get evidence, video, so that we can do a bit more.
Do you know, Michael, I put myself in the minds of these crooks. Now, so they've gone on a group.
Yeah.
They know each one of them are a crook. You're my mate because you're a crook too.
Yeah.
So how the hell can they trust each other?
Oh,
I mean, did he put that watch or that bloody $10,000 necklace in his pocket? Is a ring missing? Yeah. We don't know.
But
is that leverage the police would use?
When it comes to questioning time, yes. But I don't think these boys are young. They're not thinking straight. They're getting what they need and they're going. To be honest, they know. The thing is, when the stuff is stolen, they never actually. They just steal it for stealing's sake now. They don't try and pawn it. They don't try and do anything. They just like hoarding it. It's almost like a rite of passage or being like, when we were younger, it'd be like trading cards or something. I got the best like so-and-so or something.
So they would have got, what, $50,000 worth of goods, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But then that's where they'll brag. They'll be like, you hit the small Michael Jewellers or Michael Hill. I hit the bigger Michael Hill and got away with it.
Michael, are you saying to me that you suspect that they won't even sell the gear, so all that was for nothing?
It's not all for nothing. I think most of it falls to the underworld or falls out of circulation, let's say. So it will be traded at a lower price without any sort of trace.
Won't these crooks be part of a gang or perhaps affiliated with a gang so they could market it within the gang?
Yep, it will be marketed towards, again, like I said, the underworld. But with what they're doing, it's purely bragging rights. There's no I'm making money out of this. The sole reason they're doing it is for bragging rights. Like I said, when as a teenager you want to be the biggest and the best, that's literally what they're doing right now.
My understanding is they're cadets and the gang, and they want to get to the next level, and they do that, they've got to pull a job like this.
With what I know, being a prospect doesn't necessarily mean doing this.
Oh, okay. That's
There's lots of different ways of you being a prospect to get a patch, but maybe ram raids is one. Maybe that's a new thing, but there's a lot of different ways of initiations and stuff like that from becoming a prospect. You got to get like anything. You got to earn your stripes before you wear it. You get to wear the patch. So maybe ram raids is becoming the new earning your stripes, but I don't think it is. I see it's young teenage boys with bragging rights. Now,
I went back before saying I suspect that each one of these guys will be suspicious of the other for pocketing something.
Yeah.
And I asked you the question, would that be used? And if did the police use that tactic? Now, you said in questioning maybe. You're a constable, so you wouldn't be involved with the question. Would that be detective sort of job?
Detectives, because this is a high-level crime, it's detective work. But I've interviewed many people, but that's to do with less serious crime, but say theft and stuff like that. But yeah, this would be moving up to detectives where you are trained in...
that was my next question.
Yeah,
so
you're trained in interviewing, yes.
You are?
Yeah, as a detective you are.
So would you put it to... See, I do a little bit of legal stuff myself, as you know, and I do questioning. So do you put it to them that there's a possibility this happened? Did you possibly put some in your pocket, or was it possible Max actually put that $10,000 ring in there? Because a $10,000 ring here and what we've recovered from you is not there. Who's got it?
Yeah.
Are they just BS to try and unhinge them?
They wouldn't put it like that bluntly, but there is ways of, lines of questioning that will help find out who is hiding or who is getting the most. Again, I've sat on many detectives interviewing. There's a very heavy structure that they do follow, but it works for a reason, and that's why they do it like that.
Now, Michael, this is a quiet suburb over in where this was on Hurstmere Road. It's relatively quiet. There's hardly any pedestrian traffic anymore. They've regenerated the street and just killed it off. So there's nothing happening in that street. How would you prevent this? I mean, it comes back to constables and preventive crime rather than actually stopping crime. And you can't be expected to stand outside every shop just in case someone's going to pile in there one day.
Yeah, I like how they've sort of said, oh, we're going to get every place up with new bollards and stuff like that.
Well, this wouldn't even stop that.
That wouldn't even stop this. This was people going in and running in. This is what, as police officers, we are proactive at times, but we're reactive most of the time.
So I imagine Michael Hill's staff would have been told, if anyone comes in the shop in a threatening manner to rob you, get your hands up and just do as you're told. And give them the goods and look, don't put yourself in danger. Now, I applaud them for that, and I think most retailers should do that. You know. Now, that's not going to stop the crime. Now, the other thing is they're aware that police are actually focused now on ram raids, and they're focused on other frivolous, stupid things, like we'll talk about it later, cannabis. But I'm just saying this is open slather now. So now they've done this, will be copycats. Do you think? Do you agree?
Not copycats. People trying to break the next record, to get the bigger bragging rights. These boys are going to be infamous within their friend group now. They're on TV all week. They've just hit quite a large Michael Hill. Not got away with it, but got away. Probably had a somewhat of a chase. They're going to have bragging rights between their mates. What's going to happen? Who wants to win the next one? The other friends. So they're going to go and do the same thing. So that's where we need to watch out. Where the problem is that they're just trying to one-up each other.
You know what? This is not the area of your expertise, but what I envisage, it's the end of retail, because we're going to have to do it online because it's not safe to do it in a shop anymore. Yeah. Isn't that a shame, folks? I actually think that's going to do us, a lot of difficulty, and it's going to be a shame to see our shops disappear, because that's part of the fabric of all society. Anyway, I'm off on another subject. We should talk about policing.
I think you're right. I think with COVID as well, storefronts were slowing up. Anyway, everything was moving online, but people are not going to want to put a storefront up if they know that their tangible products are going to be in harm's way any day.
So, Michael, part of your job is preventive policing, and it's not your job to strategize and to work out what the best means is, but now you're outside it, looking out, and it must cross your mind, particularly now where we've got fresh strategies, like ram raiding. Now we've just got open house, wander in a shop with a hammer and help yourself because it's all free. And we're going to see a lot more. And both you and I speculating this is the beginning, not the end. It's just starting.
We're definitely in the starting. If you wanted to put it on that good old trend line, we're definitely going up in this trend line.
So New Zealand's going to be exposed to a lot more probably violent crime like this.
I would suspect, yes.
Oh, jeepers. So, Michael, do you suspect that policing is going to become more and more paramount in our society and perhaps more critical?
Yes, I think policing, what you see now of the police is going to be policing always evolves. When I joined, it was one way. Now it's become somewhere else. The next 5 years, it's going to evolve again because we have to evolve with time and with people. But I think the crime is going to become very different and what it's showing me, it's going to become very violent very quickly. It's going to be very violent, very high level. I don't know where it's going to go next, but it's sort of showing, okay, we're even now at a young age pushing up into being, okay, I'm going to step in. Instead of stealing a lighter from the dairy, I'm going to do violent crime very quickly.
Now, Michael, you weren't involved with strategizing, but this subject is a great segue into the next, because what we see is, we've just discussed crime's going to go up, and it's going to go more, and it's going to require more policing and a lot of issues like that. But, Michael, I'm just blown away. The latest thing I just even heard today, and you and I have just looked at it, the police have now decided the high priority is not dealing with bollards and looking after ram raids and dealing with that. It's cannabis.
Yeah.
Something has been around for 50 years, and we've decided that perhaps we shouldn't focus on it so much. The police have decided to invest $600 million.
Thousand. Yeah.
600,000.
Yeah. It's not million, 600,000. Still a large sum of money, 100%. In the grand scheme of things.
Now, explain what they're doing.
So pretty much, they get in their helicopters, they fly over, spot them, send the police down, they rip them up, they bring them back up. That's pretty much what it is. It's through the Proceeds of Crimes Act, I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100%.
Well, I just heard Jack Tane question. Was Chloe Swarbrick.
Yeah.
Now, what they said, it comes straight out of police budget. So that means less
money,
less resources to the big ones that we think.
With what happened with the cannabis referendum, everything like that, it was so close to a 50-50 call. I think there's going to be another referendum within the next 5 years that's going to pass over anyway. The fight right now is not cannabis, it's methamphetamine, it's opiates, it's the higher level drugs. Cannabis needs to, in my personal opinion, I voted yes. I think we should be able to legalize cannabis and take it for what it's worth. Stop giving it to gangs. It needs to come in and it needs to be government regulated so that, like alcohol, like tobacco, it can be government regulated and we can have a piece of it, not the gangs have a piece of it.
And control it.
But right now, I don't see why the police are looking into it when we know in the next 5 to 10 years it's going to become legal.
And that answers our question, because last week we dealt with strategic decisions within the police force. Now, the big decisions, and you identified it was the minister and perhaps the what's he called? The
Commissioner, Andrew.
Commissioner. Yeah, Andrew. So I mean, both these decision makers. I mean, look at that ridiculous decision. Now, Hipkin's only in the job a matter of days, so he can't be expected to even know about that. But in future to come, my hope, as I'm sure it is yours, they'll get better priorities.
I think from what I can gather about this is that Chris Hipkins wouldn't have anything to deal with this. It's run by inspectors, it's run by PNHQ, it's run from inside the police, and they're being given the budget so they can deal with it how they like. But I know, like listening to what we listened to this morning, a lot were against it, but somehow it's still going through. To be honest, it's a total waste of time and resources. That fight of trying to get in underneath the supply of it isn't going to change it, because it will just go deeper. It will just be started growing in houses. It will be everything like that. They will just turn away from growing it out in the bush.
Years ago in New York, it was the mayor. He introduced Broken Windows campaign. So what he said, and crime was just out of control. So he said, go right back to the petty crimes. Do you think this is one of the strategies they're adopting?
No, I think what's going on is, so with the Misuse of Drugs Act, about 2 or 3 years ago, they made it so that a cop sort of had discretion in regards to not mental health, just health in general. So if I stopped you with a $20 worth of weed, instead of putting you through the books, we had discretion to maybe do a health referral rather than which was at the time a good step in the right direction. That was when it was all sort of seeing, okay, we're going to have to sort of pardon the pun, weed our way back from charging people for weed rather than now giving them health referrals, because it's going to become legalized at some point. I think...
So my question to you, Michael, really was, do you think this is a petty crime? So anyone involved with making money, and it's attractive because you can make good money out of cannabis.
Yeah.
So a petty crime is the start to major crime. So what the philosophy was way back in the 90s, well, stop the petty crime and you'll stop the growth and into these career criminals.
Well, the world's moving at such a fast pace that I think that if you try to jump in at the petty crime where pulling the roots up, it's just going to change direction too quick. The tack is going to be too quick that the police can chase it. It's always what happens with drugs. You think you're close, you do a bust and you get this amount, whereas they've already ran off with this amount. They're just going to go and hide it somewhere else again. Yeah. The tack is the police are always one step behind the tack that they take. And pulling it out of the ground in Northland isn't. Yes, okay, you're swapping maybe a tenth of the supply. Not even, probably even smaller than that.
Now, Michael, that's been a great discussion today, and I think we've got a lot more to come. So we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be here next Sunday.
Interesting chat, mate. I really do fascinate because we get the ground level stuff straight from the the ex-policeman's mouth.
Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Michael. If you've got any questions you want to put to Michael, let us know. Give some comments below. Thanks very much. See you next week.